Hi, everyone. Welcome to Our Disabled Future, a series where disabled voices lead the way. I'm your host, Nico, and it is a good day for disability inclusion. Each day, during Disability Pride Month and beyond, I'm amplifying real disabled stories. Where we are, where we want to go, and how the heck we're going to get there. Together, I hope. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Dennis. Eagle-eyed viewers will remember Dennis from some of my prior projects, and I'm thankful for his involvement again. Hi, Dennis. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are yourself?
Well, thank you. Dennis, tell us about yourself and about your disabled life.
I mean, for me, it's like I am like a inclusion consultant, social impact storyteller, and kind of leveraging my story and life experience to kind of help like reshape perception in the disability and kind of smash the stereotype and stigma around existing about like and how can you build a better disability and neurodiversity inclusive world where that's like, more affirming, accepting, and celebrating differences of people with disability and just like erasing differences as the norm.
Thank you for that work that you do. Not everybody can be an accessibility or inclusion consultant. It sounds like you come at disability from a variety of interesting angles. So I'm eager to hear your answer to this next question. What does a disability-friendly future look like for you?
Yeah, I think so. So as someone who's grew up like being partially blind, partially blind, as someone who grew up partially blind, low income, late identified, uh, ADHD, autistic, and like kind of like also navigating a lot of different mental health challenges and co-occurrences, like due to my late neurodivergence, I understand that how the world wasn't set up and designed for people like me, and like with my intersectionality as someone who's like Southeast Asian. There's a lot of cultural barrier. There's a lot of cultural stigma, and then also like and also the kind of world in the world that we have existed in a very ableistic viewpoint where it's like nothing is designed for us, and it's like we have to kind of maneuver around a world to kind of create a world that doesn't exist. Like I existed in neurotypical for most majority of my life, and it was only during the past like 5 years I kind of come to a place where I'm able to kind of build community for itself and come from a place of like how social and status and access to resources, access to information was not accessible, and including healthcare system wasn't like when you first get diagnosed with any health condition, it's like there's no resources, no nothing. I felt like social media was a lifeline for many, and also for me, and finding community member and representation was very important. So to kind of like tie that into the whole like how can we build a more disability inclusive world, it's just being able to like you know to kind of treat people's differences like with respect and providing opportunities and to be able to showcase that like disability does not mean less, or just because you think or function differently does not make you less as a human, is we're all human beings. I think humans should be factored to that, and that uh just because it doesn't impact you does you should still care about it, because it should be about like inclusion should be embedded into your everyday process and not just something that like something that I only do it because it impacted me, and or it's just because it's an afterthought that's more layered on because like only our response to something happening rather than just like, oh, it's matter and I should care about it because it affect my community.
Thank you so much. Dennis, I can tell that you've put a lot of thought into this. It is always a good time for disability inclusion.
Mm.
Here's the tougher question, though. How do we build that future? What's our strategy to achieve greater disability inclusion and greater opportunities coming for disabled people? What do you think?
I think there's like a lot of nuances of that. Is there's a lot. I think how to kind of get there is I think there's a lot of need to be a huge cultural and paradigm shift, which we're kind of seeing happen in the world right now, which is amplified by the policy that we're kind of seeing, and it's the system falling apart right now, and how we kind of just notice how that's like kind of the whole process is that we're kind of seeing how like moving away from compliance-based model. Like, yes, ADA compliance is great. It has done a lot for us. And that, yes, but at the same time, it's like it won't be hold people accountable for what they're doing. It will kind of just like, as someone who work in quality assurance, I know this very well, how I'm able to kind of test product and test services. But if the company itself or the organization or the whoever is running this thing, they don't care about it or they don't live it, it's like you can't really do anything about it. They'll just meet the checkbox, and it's all about performative. That just kind of like help create the performative structure of like, hey, I'm just being performative and meet the standard, and that's it, and move on. But at the same time, realistically, people are still being harmful. Disabled, neurodivergent people are still being harmed by the very system or by the environment they're in. Like, I have navigated different community and spaces where they, on the surface level, they seem all great and inclusive, but at the same time, in reality, when I got into there wasn't there. And I kind of come down to a lot of time it's like leadership. Like people don't have leadership quality or they're not, and not just because you have a title doesn't make you a leader. And that how you kind of run an organization, run system, it doesn't make you anything. And also kind of felt like it all come down to, is it embedded into who you are, like a system, the mindset of why you should care about disability and neurodivergent, and to how you kind of think about like who you kind of bring onto your team and your system that you try and build to actually kind of create that environment. Because of course, like you don't believe in inclusion, then you kind of like don't buy to that system. You're just being the checkbox. You're gonna have the people around you gonna reflect that, and so it's kind of for me. It's like it's not just like all about like in the workplace setting. It's the same way. It's also reflected in our political climate as well, and who you kind of bring on to people that reflect the community that you're serving, or reflect the employee or the company culture that you're trying to represent as well.
Thank you, Dennis. You give a lot of good tips for someone who seeks to be actually inclusive, not just that surface level performance, as we said. As we close our time together today, I wanted to give you a chance that you and I, as disabled people, rarely get. That is a chance to brag about yourself. You could promote something cool you've done recently, or maybe you're still working on something really cool. You mentioned being a disability consultant. So if you want people to find you online, where can we find you? This
Yeah,
is just a blank space for you to be your own cheerleader. Let's hear it.
yeah, so I done like a lot of public speaking on talks on like various topics on disability inclusion, neurodiversity inclusion as related to culture, facing Asian HPI community. And so you can find me on like my LinkedIn handle, which I'll send you the link as well.
Thank you.
But also to Nico as well, but also on our website, which is www.dennisvtran.com, where you can learn more about my work and my advocacy endeavors.
Thank you so much. I'll put that URL in our video description, that Dennis Vtran. Thank you again. All right, folks, tune in next time. Remember, this is our disabled future, and we're building it one day at a time together. Wherever you go and whatever you do, I'm rooting for you, and I can't wait to see what you do next. Bye.